Hello. I want to summarize my thoughts on Hull because I've just spent 2 days playing it, and I think that I can help you with a decision as to whether to spend RP on it or not, because it's going to be 60,000 RP when the patch hits EU tomorrow as I'm recording this. So, this is an American destroyer. It's based on the Sherman hull, more or less, so you get the weird Sherman torps. But it's got 3 8-inch guns, so 203mm guns that are very, very similar to Des Moines in terms of the ballistics and the damage and the angles and all that kind of stuff. So it's very, very close to Des Moines. It's not exactly the same. You can go and look up the differences yourself, but it's close enough that I can say they're pretty much Des Moines guns. When you compare it to, say, Elbing's dispersion is like almost twice as good, so it's nowhere near as accurate as Elbing. But the shell's arcs are more or less the same as Des Moines, and so it's nowhere near as loopy as gearing. So pretty much it feels like you're shooting Des Moines guns, but you only have 3 barrels. You got 2 on the back, 1 on the front. You're smokeless, so it has Def AA and heal and speed boost. It's a French-style speed boost, so it's a 2-minute speed boost, 15%, so that's quite nice, although it's a long cooldown as well. The Def AA supplements the reasonably good AA. If you come up against a tier 8 carrier, you can pretty much fend it off. Tier 10, you might struggle a little bit. The heal looks like it's a super, super, super heal. It's not that good, but it is nice. So it's like 5-6k heal, something like that every time you run it, assuming that you've taken the right kind of damage. So don't think this is going to be like Noistrashemy in terms of having a zombie heal that lets you heal like half the ship back. It's not like that. But it is a significant heal. But you're going to need that because the base concealment is pretty bad. So the best you can get it down to is 6.5. And so you're going to take a lot of incoming because you're quite slow and you're quite easy to see. So you kind of need that heal. There are a few different ways that you can play this. What this is definitely not is it is not a cap contester, and it is not an anti-destroyer destroyer. Your concealment and maneuverability are not good enough to contest caps against another destroyer, because if you get spotted, you're going to take a lot of damage, and if there's a destroyer on the other side of the cap, you can't really return fire because your DPM is actually quite low against a destroyer. This thing is really, really dangerous to cruisers, like really super dangerous, because it's a Des Moines, essentially. So if you can get the broadside of a cruiser, if it's a very, very light cruiser, you might even need them to angle slightly. You are going to take them apart, and then they're not really going to realize what's happening if they don't know what the ship is. It's only 3 shells maximum, but the gun angles are very good. You've got 2 on the back, and so you can be running away from something and still be hitting it with 2 barrels. The turret turn is also very fast for 8-inch guns. It's about 5 seconds. And so if you're weaving, the guns can keep up with the ship. This can, I think, be played in a couple of different ways. The way that I've currently got it set up is with medium range, so you've got like 14 range. So it's concealment with a bit of range. And that way you can be more of an ambush predator, which is how I like to play. So you can see a cruiser and you can kind of sneak up on it. You can sneak up on a CV as well. If you get a chance, you can take a CV apart pretty quickly because you've got the nice combination of impactful guns with good AA. You'll keep them busy and kill them. You could also, I experimented a little bit with max ranging this thing, so you can get up to about 17.5 kilometers. And because you've got 8-inch guns with good ballistics and nice accuracy, you can farm things pretty effectively because the fire chance on these guns is pretty high. So you've got 16% per shell. Okay, it's only 3 shells, but you're firing pretty quickly, like every 3 seconds or so. And so you can really, really be a pain in the backside. Because although you're quite slow, you're still a destroyer and you're quite small, and you have that heal. So if something like a Hindi or whatever hits you, you can run that heal and come back from it. And you're not that big, so you can speed juke at that range fairly effectively, especially when the speed boost is running. And so I think there's 2 playstyles. There's sort of like being a run and gun nuisance with your HE, 8-inch HE, or being more of a stealth ambush predator with your AP. And both playstyles work. And if you use this 14.3 build, or you could do it the other way around where the range is on the captain for about the same result, then you can kind of do a combination of both. Obviously, then with the run and gun style, you're a bit closer. So you need to be a little bit more cautious. But I've had quite a lot of success with this build. So should you get it? I think it's really interesting. Obviously, it's the first destroyer that's got guns this big. Probably won't be the last. It's super dangerous for cruisers. I think it rewards people who are paying attention and understand the guns. If you have played a lot of the American cruisers and you really like those guns and you like that experience of using those guns in Des Moines and Buffalo and so on, then I think you will get a kick out of it. Or if you've played and like the German heavy destroyers, so the like Elbing line, I think you'll also quite like it as well, because there's quite a lot of similarity with the playstyle, given the way that the Elbing guns behave. And this has some interesting connotations potentially for competitive as well. So I haven't played enough clan battles recently to know for sure, but it could be an interesting choice for teams to take in clan battles, given what it can do. And I haven't had a chance yet, but I would be really interested to see how this pairs up with a divmate who has a smoke screen. Because if you had a destroyer that had a smoke and maybe a hydro, or even a cruiser that had a smoke and a hydro, that would be interesting. And see what it can do, because it's got very small smoke bloom, 4 point something. And so you can sit pretty close to stuff in a smoke screen and do a lot of damage. And the interesting thing psychologically with this ship is that because it's not a cruiser that's shooting like 6 barrels or 9 barrels, people don't react to it in the same way. So if you have a cruiser that's sitting not very well angled to you, and you're in a Des Moines or a Buffalo or something like that, and you start smacking it, they react very quickly because they see their health bar go do, 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 do. In this, because you've only got 3 barrels, people don't react quite so quickly, because what they see is like tink, 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 like their health goes down, but it's not going down like in huge chunks, because you're just punching them in the face over and over and over again and taking a little bit off at a time. And so people take a long time to go, oh, this actually really hurts. It's just that it's coming in all these little punches rather than one big smack. So if you get something like a Neptune or a Minotaur or a Smolensk or something like that, maybe you're blind firing it in smoke, that damage adds up pretty quickly, but they might not realize that quickly enough. And so there's going to be a lot of players, when this becomes available, there's going to be a lot of players who don't know what this is, who will be pretty naive targets for you, at least for a little while. So do I recommend it? Yes, if you are looking for a destroyer that's a little bit different, or you're looking for that cruiser experience in a destroyer, then yes, I recommend this. I will be right now starting my reset to grind for this thing, so that tomorrow on EU I can get it. And that's my thoughts. Thank you very much for your attention.